Okay, welcome to Enchanted Moments podcast. This time together, we're going to talk a little bit more about connecting with divine energy and what it means for us to be human in this body with a soul. Hopefully. We have a visitor, so if you hear a squeaky noise, it's Creme Brulee, the lovely rescue kitty. Okay. Last time we talked about meditating as a connecting to divine way to do that. There's many ways to do that. Many ways. One is an easy way, is either first thing in the morning or last thing you do at night. If you have an oracle deck, there's only thousands of them available, so somebody will have one. Just spread all those cards out on the bed and ask, what do I most need to know today? Or what do I most need to know tomorrow? And then pull a card and see what the message is, because basically that's what an oracle deck does. It just gives you a message, but you have to believe that that is being inspired by your higher self and divine energy to give you that particular bit of information. So take it seriously. It's not just a happenstance or guess. It's an important message for you to think about. Some people like to journal about it. That also helps you get in touch with what your feelings are about that particular bit of information, which is also how you feel about divine energy. So it's a stream of consciousness that relates to your connection. Another way to do it is to use some divination technique other than cards. So you could use a pendulum. You can use dowsing rods. Anything if you're trying to find out if your chakras are blocked, if you need to work on a particular chakra, then you can use a pendulum to do that. You can get somebody to do it for you, or you can do it yourself. But those are ways too to connect to divine, and it's not as big a deal as sometimes we make it out to be. I think it's easier for some people to just live in that connection all the time, and then others who need to slow down enough to be able to have a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, just like any other gift, mediumship, whatever, you need to learn to turn it off and take a break, because it isn't something that needs to be wearing and turned on 24/7. Connecting to divine is a wonderful, just stay there. It's lovely to be connected. You can also connect through your animals, because they have pure energy. They do not have judgment. So if you want to connect to divine energy, you can do it by loving an animal, because they are special and are all about the love, except when they bite you or scratch you, but that's okay. Yeah, but that is true. Animals are non-judgmental and love you no matter what, so they carry unconditional love around with them all the time. So actually spending time with an animal is a very calming and connecting to divine energy is easier when you're loving on somebody else. We don't expect them to do anything for us, so
True.
we expect them not to do certain things.
I was going to say, I feel like my cat at home is fairly judgmental sometimes.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, probably not, but maybe a little.
She is a sneezy one. Okay. One thing about having that divine connection at all times is it creates a sense of our humanity that maybe we lose touch with or lose sight of on a daily basis. what makes us human, what makes us special. That spark of divine is what makes us special, but it makes everything special, because little critter here also has her spark of divine. So there's a little bit of God in everything, and because that's the source of creation, all our energies are created in that space, and energy cannot be destroyed. That's a quantum physics. And once it's created, you can't destroy it. So it has to go somewhere. And these little guys will be there to greet us when we cross over, so I know they're there. Yes.
And not to knock us off track, but with animals also, with everything having the spark of divinity or the source, and the fact that if we don't experience from our last talk what our soul is looking to experience, there's also the idea of reincarnation. So I don't know how to say it, could the spark of divinity in Miss Krem here be, I don't know, I don't want to say a reincarnation of a person, but is
no.
it all, yeah, okay.
I say that because of experiences that I've had with those on the other side, and from teachers, not from my own personal.
At some point we should probably also talk about like all the things you've done and do and your maybe knowledge base and our
okay. But let's do that another time.
Yep.
Animals are special, and they do have a spark of divine, so they have a little soul just like everyone else. But when what makes us human on this planet anyway is that we stay within our group of souls. So everybody's belief systems are different. This is mine. That we're not going to come back as a rock, or we're not going to come back, the cat isn't going to be my grandmother. We would come back in soul groups, which would be people that we have chosen to come back with in many lifetimes to continue to develop. But they just cross over and become special little spirits. And they can be our animal guides, and they can be animal spirit guides for many people. But no, they don't come back as human beings either.
Right. But so in the whole soul group with people, do we also have then maybe a soul group of animals that like we are always traveling together? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to know, but it's never come up, and I don't think I've ever seen anything about it either.
Just curious.
They do come back and visit us in spirit form. I used to have my cat, after Bing, the crazy cat died, he was with me for 20 years, and when I would be doing some spiritual work or meditating or journaling, I would feel him jump up on the bed. It was, but he wasn't there. But you would feel that pressure of something landing on your bed. And I think they come back and
check in.
And I think they check in. Every time I see my dad in spirit, he always has a dog with him. So it's kind of like, okay, I get that. But so they're in another dimension with spirit, but I don't know if they come back as other animals. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Never asked one. We ought to have some of the animal communicators check in with them and see if they can get an answer on that. But the reincarnation is specific to basically our human species in my belief system. From what they've told me, when they, our spirit, when it crosses over, talk about that. But don't have it. But the humanness and the humanity that we exhibit is really a special part of our existence, and at times I think as human beings, we feel very powerless. And in today's environment, like we said before, it is a stretch to feel great every day. Especially when you're in our world and paying tariffs and doing things that you really didn't want to do to begin with. We just go, okay, I have to let that go and take a deep breath and remain in that place of peace that we deserve every day. One thing we can do when we're feeling super powerless, like that doesn't matter what happens, if I do this, nothing's changed, yada yada, that's not true. I just read something yesterday that said for every positive thought that is exhibited and sent out into the universe, it negates 750,000 negative thoughts. I don't know. It sounds like a lot, but it does definitely negate something out there that's not positive. But one thing Sneezy here agrees with is if you think of the universe as a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle, it makes it easier for me to visualize that. So the whole universe is a big jigsaw puzzle, and we're all a piece of a puzzle. If the puzzle is, looking like it's not a happy puzzle, then changing your piece makes a big difference. So for every piece that goes into that puzzle that is positive and happy and loving and kind, it doesn't matter. You're changing the whole. So you can have an effect on the whole just by being different yourself. And that's, I think, important, because when you start to feel like nothing I do ever makes a difference, it does indeed make a difference. Is she coming up here now? But every day you choose to be happy or choose to be positive in face of a negative environment, then you are making a big difference to the whole. And if you walk down the street and smile at somebody, if you're in line and you're buying a cup of coffee and you pay it forward with somebody else, you're making a big difference. You're changing the whole energy pattern of that environment. So it's important that we don't forget that part of our job here is to be of service to others. And that doesn't mean you have to have a job that does that, but nurses and doctors and people in first responders, I mean, their whole life is service to others. But we just need to be of service. So that can be that smile on the street, or donating to something to the food pantry, or taking your old clothes or your new clothes that you never fit into. I had a whole lot of those for a while. Taking those to a clothing bank. It's something that, it's not because you want credit for it, it's just because it's the right thing to do. So if you have pots and pans and you can give to the AMVETs. Those people need everything. And giving money is wonderful if you can afford to, but you don't have to. It's not important that that's what you do. But it is important that we treat people, with respect and caring. So if somebody's having a bad day and they don't smile back at you, you can't go, wow, that was a waste of time. They're having a bad day, let it go. You just made it better for them. So, but yeah, that's service to others is a big part of how we develop spiritually. But I think it's important that everybody realizes that anything that you do does make a huge difference to the total. There's never a day that goes by that you cannot make a difference in some way. So it is never okay to just feel bad that we're going to have bad days. Come on, it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. You just try to do the best you can that day. If getting out of bed is all you can do, then that's what you do. But then there are days when you can do more, and I think that's important that we recognize that that everything we do that's positive in the world is making a change to the entire world. And I'm sure at some point there's a tipping point. I don't know what it is, but it would be enough people start doing things that way, it'll make a bigger difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's Christianity, 2 or more gathered in his name. It makes a bigger difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, prayer in a group makes a bigger difference. Group affirmations, group meditations, things. It's a compilation of all that energy.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a big difference. That's why even on the internet, when people say, well, we're going to have a group healing and we're going to all log on at this time
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to do this healing, it works because there's so many bits of energy that are gathered to do this one thing at that time.
Mm.
Makes a big difference.
Kind of tying back into what we talked about last time with ritual and intention, almost, I guess, and being present for that thing.
Yeah, but it's important that we try to overcome feelings of not being adequate or feeling fearful for the future. We don't have a future. We have a today.
Mm.
You know, there's no guarantee tomorrow will show up. You know, we could get hit by an asteroid tonight in our sleep. Who knows? But, you know, all you can work on is what is happening right now. Right. So, you know, trying to make little Krem feel more comfortable. It's my job right now. But people have so much more than they realize.
Mm-hmm.
And can do so much more than you realize. It's not about magnitude.
Yeah.
It really is about just doing things and acting on things and feeling more positive. You know, go out and put your feet on the grass and just thank Mother Earth for having that wonderful energy of growing things, being grateful for the sky, being
Mm-hmm.
grateful for that tree. You know, acknowledging that is a very positive connecting device because you're now connected to your environment and connected to nature. And you know, nature is just divine energy in a different form. So you know, however you want to connect to that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Just like her. She's important. Anything else?
It's just something, I read it somewhere sometime, but just, you know, trying to be grateful about things,
Mm-hmm.
different things every day. I read something that said, you know, put those little colored stickers in different spots. Somewhere you'll see them all the time, somewhere you might not see them for a month. But that you know that just say what you're grateful for in this moment, in this time, in this, and I think, you know, what I read had said always make them different because, again, with what we talked about last time is, don't make it a habit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just, well, yeah, I'm always grateful that I have my roof over my head, but yeah, I'm grateful for the trees in the summer that give me shade. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the rain that gives, you know, grows the grass that I walk on.
And have to cut every week.
Yeah.
Off and on.
Yeah.
It is. I like the sticker idea. That's
Mhm.
really a cool one.
Have I done it? No.
You haven't. I would think that would be pretty.
I honestly thought I should do it here at work
Well, you spend a lot of your time here, so that would make a lot of sense to do it here.
for everybody.
Yeah. The what I do at home is I have little mini altars everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk one time about just putting altars together. But I have one on my desk in the office, which is a picture of your mom and Jerry,
Mm-hmm.
and a picture of Marlise from her first communion, and a rock and a plant. And when I walk in there, I see them, and I'm just so grateful they were in my life. You know, those are very very special people for me,
Mhm.
and I miss them every day. But it makes me say, be thankful, be
Mhm.
grateful that you had the ability to have those special people in your life,
Yeah.
because they were extraordinarily special people. Other places I have just a big old crystal in a plant, or a picture of something else, just like and more of an arty kind of picture,
Mhm.
and it changes your focus, so that you when you see that, it makes you draw to feel that spiritual connection in some way, either being grateful or being loving, or thinking about art, because I think art is an amazing expression of people's spiritual insides.
Mhm.
So anything that makes you think of those things, stuck around your
Mhm.
place you live or place you work. I used to have one in my office. Nobody knew it was an altar, obviously. But I had a little tiny plant. I think it was a little aloe plant, and a crystal, and pictures of my kids.
Mhm.
Everybody's got pictures. Their kids on their desk. Nobody questions that. But
Hmm.
for me, it was a place to focus and remind myself that I was a spiritual person, which is hard to do sometimes at work, and that was what was important in my life. So we have to do those things.
Yeah.
And we need reminders.
We need reminders.
We do. It would be nice if that's what our total focus was all of the time, but like we had to pay sales tax today, and we had, you have taxes to do at home, and you have bills to pay, and that it takes you out of
It's
that
a drag.
spiritual
Yeah.
place, because it's just pulling you down and grounding you with what's important today. We have to do those things, but then we have to remember that when those things are over, that we do something that
Mhm.
makes us feel,
Resonates.
gets our spiritual juices flowing. Reading is a great way to do that. I usually have at least 3 books going at one time. I like books that I can hold. I'm old, so I didn't grow up with screens. I do have a Kindle. God forbid, it's probably a brand name I shouldn't use, but I have it. I can take it with me to places I don't want to carry books, and therefore I have something on there. It's usually lighter material. I'm usually reading some kind of little mystery or witchy book that's a mystery, and then I have at least 2 or 3 different books that are spiritual in nature. I was reading Between Death and Life by Dolores Cannon. I just finished that and passed it off to Ida. I like Dolores Cannon. She has a methodology for doing past life regressions and regressions into between lifetime space, which I find very fascinating. And then I have a book that just came out by Greg Braden on humanity, which is really interesting. So there has to be something you're feeding. Feeding your life.
Mm-hmm.
I do needlework, and for me, it is almost like a mindful activity, because I'm using that in and out and in and out and in and out with the needle and thread, so that to me is almost a form of meditation. Knitting, crocheting, any of those can be the same. You can think about anything while you're doing those things. It's not, it doesn't require 100% of your focus, unless you're me and you can't count. But, it's like, you have to just keep track of things.
Yeah.
But I would pick up some material that is going to resonate with you. And if you pick up a book and it doesn't, then put it down.
Yeah.
It's not the right time. Sometimes you get through and you're reading it and it makes sense, and all of a sudden you're like, no, that's like insane. Don't do that. And just get past that part. And who knows? Next time you read it, it may make perfect sense, or it may still not make sense, which is fine, because everything isn't supposed to.
Yeah.
We have discrimination. So if you're reading something, particularly on the internet, and it just sounds like it's horse
Malarkey.
pucky. It probably is. Or it just is for you right now, and it's not meant for you, so don't shove it in your face. You know, it's not time for you to have that information. Just walk past it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've done that my whole life. You know, my mother had us reading Plato and Aristotle when we were 10 and 11 years old. So parts of it made perfect sense and parts of it no way. You know, even as an adult, sometimes you read that and you go, oh no. But always had something to make you think. That was an important part of our lives. And it's an important part of growing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to think outside your comfort zone sometimes to take that next step. Where do I go next? Maybe that's what's going to push you to go next.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important. Stimulation, thinking, because that's, you know, we're not the only energy in the universe. It's out there. There's no way with hundreds of millions of universes that there aren't other intelligences out there.
Right.
What they look like or what they do, I don't know. I've never met one. I'd be happy to,
Yeah.
but yeah. But I do have some past life memories of being other places, which is always kind of fun. But it's important for our existence here to make the most of what we can while we're here. We're going to continue to develop once we cross over into the next dimension. That, I mean, your whole soul's being is to develop.
Yeah.
So whether it's in spiritual body or physical body, it doesn't care. It's going to keep going. So
Is there an end point?
when you fold back into divine creation, that's the end point.
And then we go back out.
Who knows? I don't think anybody's ever come back and said, gee, it was fun in there, I'm coming back out.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. That would be fun to find out. You know, it's kind of interesting because I keep thinking, well, when I get to the other side, then I have all these questions, you know? And what's funny is my mother used to say that all the time. And in any of my conversations with her after she crossed over, it became less important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she wanted to meet some of her ascended masters and things that she had worked with while she was here. But all those big questions she had sort of just, you know, fade away. And the things that are important and critical to your development at that point in time are what you focus on. You know, so who knows? I'll take my spiritual list, but
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll find out. And in people who communicate with different levels of spiritual beings, there's answers and things that they don't have. Because if you're at a specific point in your development, even in another dimensional place, you don't have all the answers to what may be knowledgeable to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know when you're supposed to know, which is frustrating because everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
So we want to know those answers. And some we can get, but there's others that are just not right for us right now. Darn.
Yeah.
Darn.
You'll
But
know when you're older.
you know when you're really older. Yes. But yeah, we are a soul wearing a body. You know, the body is just what we're wearing right now to collect information. You know, so when
Interesting.
that body becomes a spiritual body versus a physical body, the soul still goes on. It's allowed. Yeah. So I think we need to keep connecting. I think that's important. Know that no matter what we're doing, it's the right thing for us to be doing. Practice all our gratitude and love and being as honest spiritually as we can, and share with others when we are able. So I think that's a good way to go forward.
And even the smallest positive thing is
Absolutely.
important.
just one short positive thought is making a big difference. Even on our bad days.
And probably even more important on that is.
Absolutely. Blue sky would be nice right now. But we're happy for the rain.
Yeah, we are.
We are. It's watering our pumpkin plants outside. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Enchanted Moments.